Assalamualaikum, myself Bakar Randhawa from the platform of TeleMedsEdu. I welcome you on the platform of telemedical education. So guys, basically, Alhamdulillah, ये एक nationwide e-platform है for medical students, especially with the help of with the assistance of my friends, my colleagues, especially Usama, Rumesa Pervez, Fizan Haider, Snaullah, Binisara, Dr. Saman, Dr. Sidrandli. Thank you so much guys for all your support and all others जो from the day first support कर रहे हैं, हम assist कर रहे हैं, टेलीमेड्स EDU को थ्रू आउट लेके चल रहे हैं, हमारे फ्रेंड्स, हमारे कोलीग्स जो अवैस अमजद हो गया, लाबा कियानी होगी, अब्दुल्ला हो गया, अच्छा दूसरे बहुत सारे नाम मेरे ज़हन में आ रहे हैं, सो सॉरी गाइज इफ आई मिस्ड एनी. तो हम टॉपिक पे आते हैं. बेसिकली शी इज आमना अनवर हियर ऑन बोर्ड विद अस. वेलकम आमना, हाउ आर यू?
Hi everyone, I'm Amna. I'm head of TeleMeds Education Research Program. Actually, a lot of thanks goes to Akar himself. He actually put a lot of time and effort and dedication into this. So thank you, Akar.
वेलकम वेलकम. अच्छा गाइस, बेसिकली हमारी जो टेलीमेड्स एडू रिसर्च टीम है उन्हें आमना अनवर ही संभाल दिया, सारा टैकल कर रही है फ्रॉम द डे फर्स्ट. ठीक है, अब जो रिसर्च हमने प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किया है उसका मेन बेसिक थीम ये है, प्लान ये है कि हम लाइव वेबिनार्स कर रहे हैं डिफरेंट सोसाइटी के साथ कोलैबोरेशन करके. अभी तक हम ASR अमीरुद्दीन मेडिकल कॉलेज आमना अनवर ने होस्ट किया था, वो सेशन भी अपने कोलीग्स के साथ जो टेलीमेड्स रिसर्च टीम से होस्ट थे. ठीक है, उसके बाद हम अभी FMU फैसलाबाद के साथ नेक्स्ट करने जा रहे हैं इस वीकेंड पे इंशाल्लाह. डॉक्टर जुवेद इकबाल के साथ हमने फर्स्ट सेशन होस्ट किया था. If Amna, you remember, that was
Yes, so,
amazingly great.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to clarify. Having this webinars and sessions and all of these sort of sessions are really important, especially if we're raising awareness with the researchers in the undergraduate levels, especially in MBBS and BDS programs.
Obviously, मेन हम emphasize कर भी अंडर ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम्स, अंडर ग्रेजुएट मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स को, मेडिकोस को कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि एज सच एक्सपोजर नहीं है हमारे पाकिस्तान मेडिकल कम्युनिटी के स्टूडेंट्स का, उस लेवल पे एक्सपोजर नहीं है, उस लेवल पे हम लोग रिसर्च को अहमियत नहीं देते, इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देते. जो हमने लाइव वेबिनार्स फेसबुक के रखे हैं उसका मेन थीम ही यही है, एम ही यही है कि हम लोग एम्फेसाइज कर सकें, इंगेज कर सकें मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स को. ठीक है, अभी जो रिकॉर्डिंग हम करने जा रहे हैं, जो आमना अनवर आपको पढ़ा रही हैं, बता रही हैं, वो बेसिक्स बता रही हैं, मेथोडोलॉजी बता रही हैं, रिसर्च रिलेटेड कंप्रीहेंसिव वे में एक आपको आइडिया दे रही है कि ये चीजें हमने इस तरह टैकल करके चीजों को लेके चल रहे हैं, मेन ओवरव्यू दे रहे हैं. ठीक है, जो बाकी हमारी मेंटोरशिप और जो सेशंस होंगे, जूम सेशंस होंगे, ऑब्वियसली आमना अनवर विल लीड दैट सेशंस टू, वो हम जूम पे करेंगे. ठीक है, उसमें अक्रॉस पाकिस्तान, अक्रॉस ग्लोब जो हमारे पास बहुत अच्छे अच्छे गेस्ट स्पीकर होंगे, वो मेंटोरशिप आप लोग कर रहे होंगे. ठीक है, सो गाइस जॉइन अस, जॉइन टेलमेड्स रिसर्च टीम. यू कैन कॉन्टेक्ट मी, एनी TeleMedsEdu मेंबर, इन्वेस्टर्स, फैमिली मेंबर्स और स्पेशली रिसर्च टीम. आप रिसर्च टीम में किसी से भी कोऑर्डिनेट कर सकते हैं, रिसर्च हेड हैं आपके सामने, accessible to everyone. So join us, stay connected and keep supporting TeleMedsEdu. So over to you, Amna. Please continue your topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wakar. Just adding on to what Wakar said again, is having some sort of connection and society where everyone has the same sort of goal is very important. Now on to our last series of this lecture. Can you see my screen at all?
Yes, Amna, carry on.
Okay. So this is our last lectures in the series of the Zoom meetings that I've already previously had. So the recap for the session that we recorded in the previous recording was from introduction to Gantt charts and common errors or pitfalls, detailed understanding of methodology. Now this sort of last session is concentrated on the collection of data. So the first, you have to understand whether you need qualitative or quantitative data. The right data collection method can mean the difference between useful insights and time wasted in this direction, okay? So if you can look at the chart I have here, the data collection methods, there are various methods to collect your data from. So forms and questionnaires, which is mainly what students use, interviews, observations, documents and records, focus groups, oral histories, combination research, online tracking, online marketing analytics, and social media monitoring. The most commonly used methods are published in literature resources and surveys, emails and mails, interviews, telephones, face-to-face, or focus groups, observation and documents, records and art experiments, okay? Methods of data collection. Now, literature sources. You can collect data from textbooks, government or private companies, reports, newspapers, magazines, online published papers and articles. Interviews can be structured, formal, and semi-structured or unstructured, which can be informal. Documents and records. So records can be tracked by examining call logs, email logs, databases, and minutes of meetings, staff reports, information, and logs. Surveys, web-based questionnaires, and paper-based questionnaires, printed form, easily to analyze. Okay, so they're all basically methods of data collection, observation, and experiments you can read. A lot of these, what we use as students, are interviews and surveys. Literature review. If you are doing research in your undergraduate course, it is essential to be writing a literature review. A literature review is a search and evaluation of the available literature in your subject or your chosen topic area. It demonstrates the familiarity with the body of knowledge and establishes credibility to your work. And it summarizes prior research and says how your project is linked to it. Now, the problem with literature review is it can be very, very long. So what we have done to tackle this problem is to divide our group into small subgroups or small portions, each having some sort of task to do, so that the literature review can be done in a quick pace. Make sure to add charts and graphs within your literature review, and it is very important and it will be counted for. So yeah, as I said, it gets too lengthy. A lot of the groups will complain that for one person to be doing it, it's impractical. But one way to tackle this is divide the group into 3 or 4 subgroups and divide them so that each of them have a complete topic for the group to undergo. Okay, so divide them into mechanism, pathophysiology, ethical issues, and other studies related to the article. And now, after your literature review comes the data analysis. This is your qualitative research. In qualitative research, you have little work, or at least it differs from quantitative research. In quantitative, you have numerical data, and as qualitative data, you have to, it's made up of words, description, images, objects, and sometimes even symbols. Getting an insight from such complicated information is a complicated process, and hence it's typically used for exploring and research data analysis. The methods are content, narrative, discourse, and grounded theory. Now, data analysis in quantitative research are descriptive or inferential. And in descriptive, we have measures of frequency. These come under counts, percentage, frequency, measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode, and the mean. And measures of dispersion or variation is the range of variance and standard deviation. Measures of position is percentile ranks, quartile ranks. I'm pretty sure that those who will be teaching you this have taught you in very in depth, but this is just an overview. Estimating parameters is it takes statistics from the sample, research data, and demonstrates something about population parameter. Hypothesis testing is sampling research data to answer the survey questions used in research. Avoiding pitfalls, especially in results. Lack of organization, presenting results that are never discussed, presenting discussions that do not relate to any of the results, and presenting results and discussion in chronological order rather than the logical order. A lot of students make this mistake, so just to side note this, you should go in a more logical order rather than a chronological order, and ignoring results that do not support the conclusion. Now, in a conclusion, you need to have basically a sort of a key element where you should include a restatement of the research problem, a summary of your key arguments and findings, a short version of your implications of research. And an editor, what an editor looks for when you give this to be edited is basically, this is something that you should come, it's a manuscript for peer review, and no one else dreads this, to have contents that are all over the place. So what you should do to make this more beneficial to you is have the content of the paper matching the scope of the journal. The quality of the paper must be sufficiently high. It must prevent as a novel result, and the result must be significant enough to be worth reading about. Now, everyone, it's a slide that everyone is waiting for, is the journals. So every journal is like a library. To get into that library, you either need a card or pay to borrow books. Now, how to choose the right journal? Initially, you should be making a list of all the journals available to you. You determine the impact of the journals, make sure that the journal scope and policies match your needs, and check the journal requirements and distribution. Often, a lot of students choose the wrong journal and get rejected and feel really upset about the fact that their research is not up to standard, but in fact, it's about choosing the right journal. Now, how do you determine the impact factor of the journal? This is a number which represents the frequency of citation. The bigger the number, the better. So for example, the impact factor of, let's say, one journal is 2.5. So on average, that means that the article has published 1 or 2 year ago that had been cited 2.5 times. Now, peer review. After the editorial screening, the peer review process will get initiated for a well-formatted manuscript within the scope of a journal. Keep patient and wait for the reply for an editor. This may take a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. Review terms varies from journal to journal. Now the decision. This is something that everyone waits for and anxiously waits for. Is based on the reviewer's recommendation. The editor will send you one of the following decision letters. One of them would be revision required. This means that you have to, resubmit it, and it just needs a little editing here and there. Decline, look at your manuscript and decline reason. Spend plenty of time to improve your overall manuscript and resubmit as a fresh manuscript. And accepted. It's time to celebrate. This means that it will be published in a few days or a few weeks even, but your hard work has paid off. Thank you very much for listening to all of my series. I hope you have had an understanding, a general overview of how a research paper and how a research paper should be written and published.